Welcome to a celebration of sports in Columbus. For the past 2 decades, Columbus has been a major league city, thanks to the work of the Greater Columbus Sports Commission, bringing some of the biggest events in sports like the NCAA Women's Final Four and the NHL All-Star Game, and so many more unforgettable moments. Now, to move forward, we must look back at the last 20 years that has transformed our city. It started from humble beginnings.
Started with a staff of 1.
But certainly grew from there.
We've grown into almost a dozen.
The city of Columbus has seen explosive growth by 27% the past 20 years.
I'd like to say that we kind of grew up with the city.
The Greater Columbus Sports Commission is now a major player around the country when it comes to bringing the biggest events to town.
I'd like to think of the Columbus Sports Commission as the gift that has kept on giving for 2 decades and will continue to.
We are talking about everything from the Women's Final Four to the NHL All-Star Game and Draft to the NCAA Volleyball Championship on 2 occasions.
Columbus residents love sports. They love going to events. They like collecting with each other and coming together, whether it's friends or family.
It was because of that love of sports the idea for the Sports Commission began, and it all started with some very important meetings.
So Linda and I went to see the athletic director at Ohio State then, Andy Geiger. And Ohio State had its own set of facilities, and in some ways was still sorting out how it might want to compete for events vis-a-vis downtown or elsewhere competing for events.
Andy Geiger was really one of the early influencers of our efforts, because he was someone that not only was athletic director of one of the largest universities in the country, but he sat on many NCAA championship committees where he was looking at those bids of cities that were going after big events, and he knew the effort, and that couldn't just be at the university level. So I think that Andy was really one of those people that helped tell our story early on.
Ohio State was a very important part of the early days of the commission, and that relationship on campus continues to grow.
Every year we get a bid package from the NCAA of the different championships that may emerge. And so we work with the Sports Commission and we actually place bids. And so it's a great collaborative effort, and we wouldn't be able to bring those events here without the Sports Commission.
Part of the success of the Sports Commission is the city of Columbus and all it has to offer. C-Bus is a vibrant place.
I would start with the culture of the community. Columbus is a very progressive, welcoming, diverse, open community. And then you look at the infrastructure we have some very dynamic facilities. I mean, when you look at the arena district, within walkability, you have first-class assets, whether it's Nationwide Arena, Huntington Park, Lower.com, and then right next to the convention center that you can walk to all these different events.
Our goal was always for the arena and the arena district to be a catalyst to drive development downtown. I mean, look around, that's happened. I mean, we are having an unprecedented growth spurt, more momentum than we've really ever had, I think, certainly in my long career here.
And everyone in Columbus is benefiting from the commission and the exposure it's giving the city.
The growth has enabled Columbus to get on the radar in ways that maybe it wouldn't have otherwise.
Do you think in the last 2 decades Columbus is even more on the map than it was?
There's no question. It's on national television, gets written about, gets talked about, gets blogged about, gets posted about. All focus comes to Columbus and how great Columbus is in hosting events. People learn more and more, and then all those visitors that come into town for the first time and get a chance to just explore the city and all the attractions that we have. That builds on success, that builds on a word of mouth, and all of a sudden now we have a city that's a destination.
It goes back to that old saying of, you might not remember everything about an experience, but you remember how you felt when you got there. And I think that's one of our biggest strengths. Our staff is so passionate, and they want to make sure that the event runs smoothly for the athletes' experience, but also for that fan and family experience as well, so that people do have great memories of our community and they want to come back. And that's where I'm really proud of the efforts of our staff over the years as well.
One of the keys to the growth of Columbus on a national scale is when the National Hockey League announced that Columbus was getting an expansion team. The Columbus Blue Jackets have now been here at Nationwide Arena for 21 seasons. and the team has given us plenty to cheer about along the way. Dave Metzel takes a look back at how the team has grown right along with the Sports Commission.
Hey, thanks, Clay. We've spent a lot of time talking about all the great events that the Columbus Sports Commission brings here to Columbus, many of them here to Nationwide Arena. Of course, the regular residents of Nationwide Arena, the Columbus Blue Jackets, about the same age as the Sports Commission, and the two entities have grown together, bringing many great events to the city of Columbus. Hockey-wise, we're talking about the playoffs, of course. We're talking about the 2015 NHL All-Star Game and the 2007 NHL Draft, a big event that really put Columbus on the map in terms of the NHL. The Blue Jackets know they couldn't have done it by themselves. They needed the help of the Sports Commission.
The Sports Commission was incredibly important in helping us to work with different groups that are, and companies in Ohio that are uniquely Columbus or uniquely Ohio. So we could put together, the gift baskets that were something that said this is Columbus.
Indeed, that All-Star Game was one of the big events that helped raise the profile of Columbus as a major league sports city. Many think of the other two big cities in Ohio when they think about major league towns, but with the help of the Sports Commission and all it has done to help raise the profile of the Blue Jackets, Columbus now has a spot right there at the top.
The one thing about sports puts a spotlight on a community in a really unique way. So whether it's the NHL All-Star Game being here, whether it's the NCAA Women's, Final Four, whether it's U.S.-Mexico World Cup qualifiers at Crew Stadium, those are the things that elevate a city in the eyes of most people.
The Blue Jackets and the Sports Commission working side by side over these past 20 years to keep this building busy all season long, whether it's right in the heart of the hockey season or a beautiful summer day like today. And as Chirac says, maybe one beautiful summer day like today, they'll be working together to plan a nice Stanley Cup parade right down High Street. Clay, you like that idea?
I'm right along with you, Dave, and let me tell you, you and I will be in the very first row. When we come back, we'll take an inside look at some of the big deals the Sports Commission has made over the last 2 decades to help the city grow and the economic impact it has had on Columbus.
Opportunity, equality of opportunity, equity. That's what this was about. That is what this is about. That's what we're about. The Columbus Foundation celebrates the dignity, talent, and potential of everyone, and the many accomplishments of the Greater Columbus Sports Commission in putting those on inspiring display right here in our community. The Columbus Foundation, the human spirit in motion.
We need someone to be there, knowing they'll always care. Someone who lights your way each and every day. Doing what you love is everything, so we can celebrate the joy it brings. There's so much to protect in our lives. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
From our roots at Cooper Stadium to our arrival in the Arena District, the Columbus Clippers have worked hand in hand with the Columbus Sports Commission to showcase professional and amateur baseball in Central Ohio. With 11 Governor's Cup titles and 2 national championships, the Clippers have had great success bringing baseball fans in Columbus the stars of tomorrow today. We are your Columbus Clippers, an anchor in the future of the Arena District and a proud member of the Columbus Sports Commission.
The Schottenstein Center and Nationwide Arena are thrilled to have partnered with the Greater Columbus Sports Commission as part of so many incredible moments. From Ohio High School Athletic Association state tournaments and the road to the Final Four during NCAA men's championships. NCAA Division I women's volleyball championships served record crowds. And we welcomed the NCAA Women's Final Four. Thousands of fans came to Columbus to cheer their home teams in our hometown. Congratulations.
One thing that makes Columbus great is our spirit of teamwork and collaboration. Some people call it the Columbus way. It's what makes our community special. The people and organizations that embody this teamwork are the driving force in bringing sporting events to Columbus. The Sports Commission would like to thank all of our partners, volunteers, and supporters for the last 20 years.
When you talk to the CEO and president of the Greater Columbus Sports Commission, Linda Logan, There is one thing she is fond of saying, that the commission has grown up right alongside the city of Columbus. And part of that includes this, the Hilton in downtown Columbus. It turns out getting this hotel was part of the key to some of the greatest success we've seen in the city. It all started with the bid for the 2008 Women's Final Four.
Our first bid for the Women's Final Four back in 2008, although we got all the right players in the room, was a great defining moment for us.
Put together a great pitch, brought the leaders of the community together to sell. We couldn't have done really any better, and yet we lost.
Even though we did not win the event, we came back to the office and said, what do we need to do to make this happen in the future?
You know, we all look at that now and say, that might have been the best loss we've ever had, because it turned out to be a win.
We didn't have enough hotel rooms at the time, so it was a good story to tell to help build that new Hilton. It was also an important time in our history, because we were able to say, I think we need more funding, because what if we can grow our staff to double it? I think at the time we had a staff of 6. We went to a staff of 12.
And so when they made the pitch for the 2018 Women's Final Four, they were even more prepared, and they nailed it.
Then we won, and we got it, and it was a tremendous success. I think one of the very best Women's Final Four basketball that's maybe ever been hosted.
If you look at downtown Columbus and the Arena District and the major growth it has seen in the last 2 decades, a lot of that has been because of the Sports Commission. The more events they have been able to bring to Columbus, the more money the city has received in return.
The Sports Commission, you know, has an economic benefit, it has a marketing benefit, and it has, I would say, a benefit to the human spirit of coming together to try to realize your potential in sports, but also to come together as audiences to celebrate achievement.
The 550 events the Commission has brought to the area since it started on June 27, 2002, has generated $625 million in visitor spending. And with all those visitors, the reputation of Columbus has grown exponentially over the last 20 years.
Oh, it's funny, some of the early days too, people would say, where are you from? Which Columbus are you? Columbus, Ohio, Columbus, Georgia, or Columbia?
I mean, our objective in bringing the NHL to Columbus was to enhance the image of Columbus, really when we didn't have much of an image at all on a national scale.
Sports has really put us on the map. Obviously, we already knew that because of Ohio State, but we've become a very sophisticated sports community.
Any student athlete or any coach that we're recruiting can see that this city is all in for sports. Well, it helps us attract volleyball student athletes. It's huge for us in our recruiting.
Part of this success is how the city makes people feel when they arrive in Columbus.
You put a women's basketball tournament in Vegas, you become a drop in a bucket, you know, and then you're competing with a whole other thing. You put the Women's Final Four in Columbus, and you're the cream of the crop, you're the star of the show.
And one of our customers at one point said that when we're in Columbus, we feel like we're the biggest event to ever come to that city. We probably aren't, but that's how they make us feel.
Of course, we saw that passion in full force in 2018 when fans rallied to save the crew.
People think about Save the Crew not only of saving the crew, but also how everyday citizens can come together and affect positive change for our community.
For that to happen should make all of us as residents of Columbus and organizations within Columbus very proud, because I don't believe that would have happened in any other city.
Of course, the result of the Save the Crew movement is one of the best soccer stadiums in the world, Lower.com Field. We're almost at the 1-year anniversary of the stadium, and it's already hosted 2 men's national team matches and a 9-1 win for the U.S. women over Uzbekistan. When we come back, a look at another anniversary, 50 years of Title IX, and the role the Sports Commission has played in their support of women's sports over the last 2 decades.
We congratulate the Greater Columbus Sports Commission on 20 years of bringing sports to our community and honoring all who play here. Sports fans know a level playing field is crucial to fair competition. It's also important in other areas of our community like housing, health, and the workplace. As the Sports Commission celebrates its 20th anniversary and we all honor the 50th anniversary of Title IX, there's no better time to help us level the playing field for women in our community. Learn more at columbus.gov/Women's Commission.
Fifth Third Bank. Yeah, it's a quirky name. But here's the thing, 5/3 equals 166.7%. So we put 166.7% into everything we do. Like automatically getting you your paycheck up to 2 days early, giving you well-deserved extra time to avoid overdraft fees, and helping you borrow from your future self. This is banking a Fifth Third better.
As we mark the 50th anniversary of Title IX this month, we know that 2 generations of women have scaled new heights in college athletics thanks to the opportunities afforded them. Passed in 1972, Title IX banned discrimination in higher education. The law stated that colleges could not exclude women from any activity. Suddenly, schools that only offered men's teams found themselves no longer in compliance. Women got the chance to compete in a new venue, and that trailblazing continues 5 decades later.
It's something that we do very well because of the leadership in our community. You know, our police chief is a woman. The president of the university is a woman. So we kind of walk the talk anyway as a city.
I think when you talk about what Columbus has done for women in sports, I am a tangible example of what we do on a larger scale. So Linda saw me in an office and moved me into a position, but on a larger scale, the Sports Commission, we see great events that are happening, and then we try to bring those events here to Columbus. And if those events have anything to do with girls and women's empowerment and all of those kind of things, those are the kind of events that just kind of fit the very fabric of who we are.
Doug Kreidler of the Columbus Foundation sees the embodiment of Title IX in his own daughter.
That's something that's near and dear to my family's heart. Our daughter was a starting goalie for Purdue, didn't get recruited by Ohio State, so played at Purdue. And we saw the effects of Title IX in the opportunities that were afforded a non-revenue sport and afforded to her playing in a non-revenue sport that were really, really critical.
Ohio State Vice President and Athletic Director Gene Smith has seen firsthand the impact of Title IX on his female athletes.
All the things that they go through and benefit from through sport competition and participation are the same. Lessons learned around time management, around resiliency, how to overcome failure, how to win, how to work with people from all walks of life when you're on a team. There's so many different things that you learn.
Smith started his journey as an administrator at Eastern Michigan in 1985. He faced some challenges.
Now, I inherited the budget right away at Eastern Michigan, and I saw some disparities and how between the men and the women, and ultimately, modified that over time. So women had the same amount of funding for women's swimming as men's swimming had, and so on and so forth.
One of the centerpieces of Title IX, at least in Columbus, was bringing the 2018 Women's Final Four to Nationwide Arena.
When we did host it, I'd like to say that we were it was the best ever because all of the preparation that went into it, all the people that came together this was our Super Bowl, if you will. And the fact that things we couldn't take credit for at the time, the things we couldn't control, the games themselves, the weather. I think now we do. Like the lore of the event, we take a little credit for all of the above.
6'2" senior committed to the University of Louisville.
That event in Columbus was attended by Reynoldsburg's Alexia Mobley and her mom. In 2022, Alexia took her mom to the Final Four as a freshman forward for the Louisville Cardinals. Clearly, an impression was made. The inspiration derived from it put Mobley in one of the biggest events for women on this planet.
And there you have it moving from generation to generation. That's part of the value, too, of the kind of leadership that Linda has brought to this and that continuity of leadership so that you can see its effect over a generation like that. That's a great story.
Columbus has become the hub for some of the largest women's sporting events in the country. The commission has put Columbus in that discussion again. The city learned recently it's one of 7 in the running for the Women's Final Four in 2027 through 2031.
There was a list of 15 cities bidding, but they just went to a short list of 7. So we're going to have a big site visit with them sometime in August or September. We'll keep you posted. We'll know by the end of the year. And then also the U.S. Figure Skating Championships were a finalist for that event as well for January of either 2024 or 2025. So those are 2. Yeah.
Huntington Park is more than just the home of your Columbus Clippers. We are the home of events large and small. Banquets, weddings, company outings, graduations, movie nights, ballpark boom, and many more. With a variety of settings and locations around the ballpark, we have a space for your event from 10 to 10,000 people. Huntington Park. Come and play while the team is away.
There's nothing quite like Columbus. You could get to some really nice textured spaces and experiences.
It's moving forward, and this type of energy is infectious. I love that my city can inspire art, and I know that if it can do that for me, it does that for everybody.
I'm C.M. Campbell, and I live for exploration.
I'm Edward Liang, and I live for passion.
This year, we celebrate the 50th anniversary of Title IX, the landmark legislation that changed women's sports. Both Ohio State University and the Greater Columbus Sports Commission have worked to advance women's athletics from developing championship teams and individuals to hosting NCAA championships. We are committed to remaining at the forefront of that effort.
Be a part of the Community Cup, July 29th at Fortress Obex.
There have been a lot of big events here in Columbus over the last 20 years, thanks to the Sports Commission. And you can bet there will be many more in the years to come because they never stop looking and working on the next big thing.
So I'm a huge baseball fan, so I like to say we did a lot of singles and doubles in those early days. You know, we were very limber and quick on our feet to just do the small stuff.
They may have started off hitting singles and doubles, but it didn't take long until they started hitting triples and home runs, including bringing the 2013 President's Cup to Muirfield Village.
Great example, President's Cup 2013. We had the team stay downtown Columbus, the new Hilton Hotel. Fred Couples stated in front of everyone, a huge breakfast, 1,000 people. I'd never been to downtown Columbus when I visited the Memorial Tournament. Their ability for us to host an event in Dublin while we're using facilities downtown Columbus, because it's not too far, but it's also, the event was so big that we needed to. And those players get a taste of Columbus that they'd never had before. And that word spreads.
So what is the key to bringing all these events to Columbus?
But the one thing that really separates us when events come to Columbus is what the Sports Commission's able to do to find those details that truly make a difference in an experience here.
When you're on the other side of the table and you're hearing a pitch from a community and you know you've got to deliver for your constituency, the teams, the families, and so forth, you need to be able to trust the person on the other side of the table. And people in that realm of athletics and events know they can trust Linda.
Word of mouth is probably our best friend when you think about the testimonials that come our way of people, of us under-promising and over-delivering.
Of course, having world-class facilities in Columbus doesn't hurt either.
The arena started it, and it was very highly regarded really from the very beginning, starting in 2000 when it opened, but it continued to build. It continued to build with Huntington Park, continue to build now recently with Lower.com Field, home of the Crew. And now we are, without question, one of the very best sports and entertainment districts in the country. And I think that's gotten to be pretty well known.
As Linda Logan continues to work on finding the next big events to fill those great facilities, she wants to thank those who were there from the beginning and continue to help in the growth of the commission and the city.
There were several key contributors to the Sports Commission that have stuck with us from the beginning. Nationwide, the Convention Authority. We also had the great hotel community that has come together that recognized what sports tourism could do for Columbus. We also had some great families step up, like the McConnells and the Wolves, that really saw the value of the efforts of the Greater Columbus Sports Commission. And so proud of the fact that they've stuck with us through these 20 years, and the best is yet to come.
Anytime I have friends or family from out of state come to Columbus, people are blown away. A perfect day for me would definitely begin at the Metro Parks. I love coming out early mornings to Blended Woods. My favorite animal of all time is the common snapping turtle. I'm very proud to say that our Metro Parks have some of the largest common snapping turtles on record in the United States. Hop in the kayak, get out on the water. It's usually a great start to the day. I'm Coyote Peterson, and I live for adventure.
We need someone to be there, knowing they'll always care. Someone who lights your way each and every day. Doing what you love is everything, so we can celebrate the joy it brings. There's so much to protect in our lives. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Opportunity, equality of opportunity, equity. That's what this was about. That is what this is about. That's what we're about. The Columbus Foundation celebrates the dignity, talent, and potential of everyone, and the many accomplishments of the Greater Columbus Sports Commission in putting those on inspiring display right here in our community. The Columbus Foundation, the human spirit in motion.
We love sports, and we certainly love our city, and we love making memories that we'll be able to talk about for decades to come. Thank you to all who have helped make the Greater Columbus Sports Commission possible and so successful. And I just know there are many more great sports moments to come. Until then, I'll see you at the ballpark.
One thing that makes Columbus great is our spirit of teamwork and collaboration. Some people call it the Columbus way. It's what makes our community special. The people and organizations that embody this teamwork are the driving force in bringing sporting events to Columbus. The Sports Commission would like to thank all of our partners, volunteers, and supporters for the last 20 years.